critical numbers every business owner must know. Business is made up of numbers. Just about everything in business that matters is a number. Your sales, your margins, your customer base, your costs, your profit and your cash flow. They're all driven by numbers. When it comes to growing your business, there's a mathematical model which sits behind every business. When you understand this model, you start to truly understand what drives your sales and what drives, more importantly, your profit. In this short video, I'll share with you how an understanding of this model will dramatically accelerate the growth of your business. My name's WAGNER. I'm a chartered accountant and I'm passionate about helping business owners double their profits. Here's the big secret. You can make a massive difference to your profit line just by understanding and applying some simple but powerful growth drivers. And this understanding is essential to building and growing a successful small business. To illustrate, let me explain this with a really simple version of the mathematical model using some simple numbers. Imagine a business which has 10 customers. Each of those customers spends £10 each time they buy, and each of those customers buys from the business 10 times a year. So we have 3 growth drivers here. Number of customers, how much they spend on average each time, and how often they spend. When you multiply these 3 elements together, you get total sales. So total sales for this business would be 10 times 10 times 10, which equals 1,000. In other words, each customer spends £10 10 times a year, so they each spend £100 in a year. And if the business has 10 of those customers all spending £100 each year, total sales for the year becomes £1,000. If this was your business, you could undertake some sales and marketing activities to improve any of those numbers. Let's imagine you're able to increase the number of customers by 10%. This means you'll have 11 customers rather than 10, and the total sales now become 11 times 10 times 10, which is £1,100. In other words, increasing the number of customers by 10% increases the sales by 10%. Maybe you decide to focus instead on increasing how much they spend by 10%. If you do this, your customers will spend £11 each time they buy rather than £10. The total sales now become 10 times 11 times 10, which is £1,100 again. In other words, increasing how much your customers spend by 10% increases sales by 10%. No big surprise there. If instead you focus your efforts on getting your customers to increase how often they buy from you by 10%, so they buy 11 times a year rather than 10, then again your sales increase by 10%. So here's the rule. If you increase any single key growth driver by 10%, your total sales will increase by 10%. So what happens if you increase all 3 of the sales drivers by 10% at the same time? In other words, customers' numbers goes up from 10 to 11, each spending £11 and now buying 11 times a year. By how much would sales increase? I've heard some business owners suggest 10% and others 30%, but actually when you do the maths, sales will go from £1,000 to 1,331, which is a 33.1% improvement. What's happening here is called synergy, and the key learning point is this. Your business will grow much faster when you make small improvements in each of the growth drivers rather than focusing on just one area. The common mistake many business owners make is to focus only on getting more customers. To keep this video short, I've only covered a simple example using 3 of the growth drivers. If you want to find out what all 7 key growth drivers are, I'd be happy to let you have a completely free initial consultation. You'll find all of my contact details on the screen, and don't worry if you and I are not near each other. We can easily meet up online for a virtual meeting.